Hello everyone, my name is Alex Silva. Today I want to talk to you about ultra-wide angle lenses here on Image Weekly. Ultra-wide angle lenses. What are those? Well, some time ago you probably saw my video where I unboxed a 17 to 40 millimeter zoom lens from Canon, and I mentioned how that is an ultra-wide angle lens. Usually they are lenses that of course provide a wide angle, which is wider than a normal lens, or they have a shorter focal length than a normal lens. That would be a regular wide angle lens, but ultra wide is usually something with a length that is shorter than 24 millimeters, the equivalent of 35 millimeter photography. On APS-C, this limit is usually around 16 millimeters or lower, things like that. And well, even though if you probably follow this channel for a while, you know that, well, most of my gear was stolen some time ago, close to a year ago actually, and among the gear that was stolen was that 17 to 40. However, well, things changed. You know that I switched systems, and now I shoot with a Fuji X-T2. But of course, since I really liked ultra wide angle lenses, I got the current offering from Fujifilm, which is the 10 to 24 millimeter lens. But okay, so now we know what an ultra wide angle lens, and we have mentioned two examples, the Canon and the Fujifilm. But why did I like them? Why do I want to shoot with one of those lenses, and why do I think it is important for you to try? Well, it's very simple. Their usage it's a bit different than with other lenses. Of course, every category is different, but anyway, you probably have, if you are probably new in photography, you already have a camera with probably a zoom lens, let's say an 18 to 55 millimeters, and that is a great lens. That's probably a subject for a different video, but anyway, that is a great lens, and you probably want to shoot, or you can shoot, let's say, landscapes or a bit of architecture when you are outdoors, and it's a very good lens for that. However, if you want to shoot inside let's say a house or the inside of a room, you probably have found out that this length is does not allow you to shoot wide enough to cover all the insides of a room in a house, let's say. That's why that's where ultra wide angle lenses come in. You can shoot architecture, you can shoot interior design, you can shoot real estate, and of course those are great in terms of you're shooting pretty much architecture. However, if you go on a trip, ultra wide angle lenses let you cover a lot of the places that you're visiting when you are trying to shoot, let's say, an interesting landscape from a place where you're visiting, or let's say an impactful image from a cityscape. Let's say if you go to really bright cities or very interesting cities like, let's say, New York, Paris, things like that. Or if you want to give a different view or an angle to your current hometown, even if it's not one of those really famous cities, well, you can do it with an ultra wide angle lens. You can also use them for environmental portraits, which are those portraits in which you show a person within their working environment usually, and that is not usually possible with the traditional portrait lens, because they are usually telephotos. However, with these really wide angle lenses, it can give you a different perspective on the portrait of a person. And in general terms, having this really wide angle of view provides you with a lot of context, a lot of information, so you really need to be careful about what you're shooting. But you need to keep an eye on all the details, especially what's happening in the corners, things like that. So they do have a bit of a challenge. However, once you use them, and if you like it, oh, you're going to just love it, because they really provide you with a creative tool to show the world in an interesting with an interesting perspective, or with more context. Let's make sure just one thing. I don't want you to confuse ultra wide angle with fisheye lenses. Fisheye, strictly speaking, they are defective, if you will, because they have a lot of distortion. They tend to create some form of a spheric image. However, ultra wide angles, they still provide a reasonably natural perspective. They don't distort, or they distort just a little the image, and those are different tools. Fisheye lenses are not bad, they are great, but they provide more of a very, very creative and unusual perspective on the world, while the ultra wide angle is still a bit more natural or realistic. Now, now that we know what is an ultra wide angle lens and what we can shoot with it, you're probably interested in what is a good lens for your particular system. Well, I compiled a list of recommendations, which is pretty long, so I'm not going to mention it in the video. However, I'm going to make sure that it is covered in the notes or in the blog post, so you can find a good lens for your particular system. And I looked for many different options, trying to balance both performance and cost. However, in some cases, ultra wide angle lenses can be a bit expensive. So keep an eye on the price. I try to look always for a reasonably priced lens, but also with a good review. And I really hope you like that recommendation. And of course, if you cannot buy it, you can also rent it or probably lend it from a friend, things like that. The important thing is, I'd like for you to try it, see if you like it. If you don't, well, of course, you can keep shooting whatever you're doing. If you really like it, of course, well, of course you can. I really hope you enjoy what I like to shoot with. Anyway, I really hope you like this video. If you do, of course, you can like the video, leave a comment. That will be really helpful if you want to add something to the conversation. And of course, if you want to subscribe to the channel, that will be awesome, because you will be you will keep in touch with any other videos that I upload. And of course, if you're reading this, or if you prefer to read the blog post, you can of course share the blog post, leave a comment in the blog post if you want to add to the conversation or add anything that I may have missed. And of course, you can subscribe to the weekly newsletter. And if for any reason you missed a few things here and there, like the focal length or things like that, you probably are interested in my online course, which is called Learn Photography in 7 Days, and it is free. You can find it at learnphotographyin7days.com. Please remember, keep learning and keep shooting. See you.